You thought you got rid of me till 2023, haven't you? Well, I've been recently in a local bookstore and I remembered a topic that we don't really discuss on this channel, and probably we should do this, like more often than ever. And that is the books we read. And I believe this to be an important topic because we learn through reading a lot and it matters what we read. And in terms of business books, I do believe in quality or quantity, because you can stuff your head with all sorts of books that in the long run mean nothing. And actually nothing matters if you don't take action and only proceed to read. It's more important to read and put it to practice than read and do nothing. This year I've only read 2 business books. Yes, I'm not a fast reader when it comes to business books because I read business books slowly because I want to digest what I've read. And what I do actually, for example, I've read 1 page and I think about it and I write down some of the sentences I like the best and some of the summaries, and sometimes when I see some sort of an advice that I can apply immediately, I do. And only after I've digested what I've read and after I applied what I've read, I proceed to read further. And this is why I don't read business books fast. I read fast like fiction or fantasy books, which I believe are also important. I strongly believe in reading diverse literature because it keeps our mind creative. So let me start with the first book I read this year, in the beginning of this year, and that is Money by Rob Moore. And I bought this book accidentally in our local store, and let me tell you, it was a lucky purchase. What I liked about this book is its cover. I liked the philosophy behind the title, and it says know more, make more, give more. And this is the philosophy that I want to apply in my life. The more you know, the more you can make, and the more you can give. If we have nothing, we have nothing to give. If we are empty inside, like both materialistically saying and both spiritually saying, then we have nothing to give. When you are drowning, you cannot save anyone else's life because your own is at risk. Your ultimate duty is to become as powerful as is possible in your situation so that you can help others. And I like the philosophy on the title, and I like the book. I mean, I might be a slowpoke who haven't heard about Rob Moore previously, but forgive me. And he starts his books with asking you to answer these 3 questions. What is the legacy I want to leave? How I want to be remembered? And what is the difference I want to make on this planet? Aren't those great thoughts to consider before you start to think about why you actually need to grow your capital, to grow your net worth? Because for me, it's extremely important why I do what I do. And if I know this why, the how becomes just a secondary question, right? Moore also emphasizes the leverage part, and he tells you to ask yourself these questions instead of asking, how can I do this? Or how can I achieve this? Ask yourself, who can I get to do it? And another important question, is this the very best use of my time right now that could make the biggest difference to me in my life? As you can see, I've written down a lot of notes while reading this book, and this is why I read slowly, because I really do take my time to note whatever I deem is important. And let me share just a few more notes here with you. And one of them is, you get what you expect, not what you deserve. And this is a wise thought, because when I tested out different behaviors, I understood this simple truth. People perceive you as you want them to perceive you, not what you are. They don't read your thoughts, so you will get what you expect and not what you actually deserve. Another important thought for many entrepreneurs, I believe, who are stuck and who are desperate, and we all are at different times of our careers, is giving up is only a weakness if you give up on something of high value, high return, or importance. Put it another way, it's time to dismount a dead horse in some situations, and there's nothing wrong with that. So you should just ask yourself whether this business is of importance or not. Raise standards around you and raise wealth within you. The thought here is controversial one, but just give it a try, and that is, don't accept anything below your expectations. Another interesting thought: expect wealth, for it is your right. You get what you expect. Even if you were born poor, there is no rule that you should die poor. Another book that I've read this year is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. I've been planning to buy one of his bestsellers, like 4-Hour Work Week or some of others, but there was just this book available in our local bookstore, so I've decided to give it a try. And truth be told, I didn't really like this book, because that is my preference for the book to have one major thought and one plot or whatever, just like in this book by Rob Moore. It has a major thought: know more, make more, give more. And he flows from one topic to another quite seamlessly. This book is not a book, actually. It's a collection of different quotes, parts of different podcasts of the guests of Tim Ferriss' podcast. The author, honestly warns the reader in the beginning of his book, in his foreword, that you should treat this book as sort of a business Bible when you want to turn to get some wisdom to some of the mentors. This is your go-to book. You can open it at any place, get some piece of wisdom, and go mind your own business. The book is divided into 3 parts: healthy, wealthy, wise. And this is sort of a vague division of the guests of his podcast, who are either wealthy and give advice on business and growing personal and business wealth, who are either health experts or sort of wise people. And this division is vague, but still. And what I liked about this book is, firstly, in the healthy section, it gives actionable advice, and it gives the examples of real exercises that you can implement in your own everyday exercise routine. It even has the pictures of what you can do. So let me share some of the thoughts that I found useful. And the first one complements the other in the money book, and that is, you're not responsible for the hand of cards you were dealt. You are responsible for maxing out what you were given. By the way, another great thing about this book is that it has a lot of other books recommendations inside. It's like a business library all combined. The best way to become a billionaire is to help 1 billion people. Sounds easy, eh? Now, this one is not business related, but it was in the business section. And that is, travel isn't just for changing what's outside, it's for reinventing what's inside. I've been meeting with people who traveled all over the world, but they bring their inner problems wherever they go, and they don't work on those problems. So they just change the decorations, but not the perception, and they don't actually get the most of what they experienced. Another interesting and harsh thought is, stop doing things you love in order to nurture the one thing that matters the most. And this is a complicated thing to do for multi-potentialites and for entrepreneurs with multiple passions. Oh, I want to work on this, and oh, I want to work on that. But you should actually nurture the one thing that matters the most and that brings you the most outcome. And there is actually a rule of 70-20-10, and that is, you have to work 70% of your time on the thing that brings you the most income, 20% on another thing that brings you your secondary income, and 10% on the your potential business or any future idea that might potentially bring you value in the future. Money is a great servant, but a horrible master. Something that we should be reminded of each and every time. And the thought behind this is that you should make money work for you, but at the same time you should not worship money. Money is just an instrument, nothing more, nothing less. Another thought is, when you complain, nobody wants to help you. And even though I developed this vision myself, I still do have some areas of my life that I should work more on, and this thought just reminded me to be careful with what I share and People love positivity and people love to help you if they see you doing something rather than complaining about something. Don't be afraid to do something you are not qualified to do. Don't be afraid to start, you'll learn in the process. And let me close this book with something inspiring. You are more powerful than you think you are. Act accordingly. And with this thought, let me close the summary of this book. This is a good one to have in your library, but I would rather prefer to have something more concise and something more actionable. And let me brag about my new ebook that my husband presented me on my birthday. He knows what a great book lover I am. And I've already purchased like 1,000 ebooks for 2023, both business and fiction, because I deeply believe that reading only one genre limits your imagination and affects your creativity. In a way, I believe in reading multiple genres, and this develops different sides of your brain, kinda. Now, what are your reading preferences? What have you read in 2022? And what are you planning to read in 2023? Let me know your recommendations and your feedback on books in the comments. I'd really appreciate that, because I lack good recommendations, to be honest. I'm extremely specific with my time. I don't want to lose it on bad books, so I rely on people's recommendations, on people's referrals, on people's feedback, and then I make my wish list of books. So if you would be so kind as to drop your preferences below, I'd appreciate that. And if you'd love some inspirational quotes to light you up, make sure to check out this video next, or this one about the YouTube channels I enjoy the most. See you there, and waiting for your recommendations in the comments.